Welcome to yet another episode of Political Voice. I'm Moses Humphrey. Now, first, let's serve you a roundup of the latest political headlines in Nigeria and around the world, beginning in New York, the United States, where a judge has found former President Donald Trump and his adult sons liable for fraud and cancelled the Trump Organization's business certification. The judge said the Trumps provided false financial statements for roughly a decade. Judge Arthur Engoron's ruling came days before the civil case involving the New York Attorney General's office and the former president was set to go to trial. From New York, we'll move over to India. Now, India has called for reforms that will include representation of Africa in the UN Security Council to give voice to the continent. Minister of External Affairs Subramanian Jaishankar made the call at the 78th session of the UN General Assembly on Tuesday in New York. Jaishankar recalled the recent G20 summit and said India's presidency focused on the key concerns of the many, not just the narrow interests of a few. He added that the days when a few nations set the agenda and expected others to fall in line were over. The minister noted outcomes from the summit, including an action plan for sustainable development goals (SDGs), environmental initiative, highlighting international financial institutions reform, and the admission of African Union as a permanent member of the G20. Now, bringing it back home to Nigeria, Nigeria's election management body has announced dates for the conduct of governorship elections in Edo and Ondo states. In a statement signed by the National Commissioner in charge of Information and Voter Education, Sam Olumekun, the commission said that the governorship election in Edo State will take place on Saturday, September 21, 2024, while that of Ondo State will take place on Saturday, November 16, 2024, while the tenure of Godwin Obaseki as governor of Edo State will expire on November 11, 2024. That of Rotimi Akeredolu would expire on the 23rd of February, 2025. Now, according to the statement, party primaries for the Edo governorship election is expected to take place between February 1 and the 24th, 2024, while that of Ondo is to be held between April 6 and 27 in the same year, 2024. Well, similarly, the final list of candidates for the Edo election will be published on April 23, 2024, while the final list of candidates for the election in Ondo will be published on June 18, 2024. Now, in our last story on the roundup, Nigeria's two leading labor unions have set October 3 for an indefinite downing of tools nationwide. The declaration followed what the union said had been a failure by the government to implement palliative measures following the removal of fuel subsidies. The strike, which is expected to commence by midnight on Tuesday, 3rd October 2023, will paralyze economic activities in the country, as the labor centers have directed members to withdraw their services. And now, they have instructed them to withdraw their services. Now, in another news update, it was said that workers should pile up food for 1 week. That just leaves me wondering if it's an indefinite strike you're anticipating 1 week. Oh, well, that's all for the roundup. As we move now into our main conversation for this morning. First, the police have arraigned the recently impeached chairman of Ijebu East local government area of Ogun State, Wale Adedayo, before a magistrate's court in Abeokuta for allegedly making false accusations against Governor Dakwa Abiodun. Adedayo was arraigned on Tuesday following a petition sent to the police by the state government. Last month, he accused the governor of diverting federal allocations for the 20 local government areas of the state. He first made the allegation in a letter to a former governor of the state and a leader of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, Olusegun Oshoba before submitting a petition to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Adedayo was soon suspended by his legislative council for alleged financial maladministration and then impeached. He was also detained for 3 days by the State Security Service in Abeokuta, the state capital. On Monday, however, the police arrested the embattled politician and took him into custody in Abeokuta before arraigning him on Tuesday on a 2-count charge. Now, the police said they acted on a petition from the state government. The defendant's counsel, Kayode Akinshola, applied for his bail, saying the offenses allegedly committed are bailable. Now, the police prosecutor, Olaide Rollins, did not object to the bail application. In his ruling, Magistrate A.K. Araba admitted him to bail with the sum of 2 million naira and 2 responsible and reliable sureties in like sum. The magistrate adjourned the matter till 20th October for trial. Well, I have my guest with me in the studio. His name is Moses Orisha-Jolomi Adebayo. He's not a politician, but he's a public affairs commentator, and he obviously, has eyes on, the things happening in Ogun State and has his views as well. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you very much, Moses. And who told you I am not a political animal? I could be politics someday.
Well,
you can never
of
tell.
course, man himself is a political animal. So we all have, our roots in politics.
With the world watching, I greet everyone.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now let's look at Wale Adedayo's action here now. He wrote a letter, all right, and also wrote to the EFCC, alleging that the sitting governor has misappropriated funds, did not remit funds to the local government. What would you say that's an offense?
Well, clearly, I would say that Wale just committed political suicide. Or, if I put it in Japanese way, political harakiri. To even start with, does he not know the office of the governor, at least for now, as long as he remains governor, he can't be prosecuted. That he has written to EFCC may not change much for now. Maybe they will pile the case after he leaves office, as they did to Willie Obiano, who immediately when he left office, they arrested him. But that's on our case. So, Wale Adedayo, a local government chairman, who is supposed to be independent, on paper, as far as our concern is concerned, because there are 3 tiers of government and they are independent of one another. But in reality, they are appendages, they are stooges of the governors of each state. The governor or the emperors now, pun intended, are all powerful that if any local government chairman gets too motivated, thinking that they can face the governor, is doing that at his own political risk, he may even go into oblivion forever. You've read it aptly in your intro, how that he's been quizzed by SSS, he's been detained, he's been prosecuted, and on. All because he felt he wanted to do the right thing. But when you consider where Wale is coming from, then you tell yourself, can Wale really more as in faithfully do what is right? Going by how many of them get into offices. These local government chairmen, who were supposed to be elected by the electorate in their different local government areas, don't get there because they were voted in really. And this just being real.
Are you saying that they were not elected?
Oh, yes, you tell me they're elected, but you go through their primaries, they circumvent all manner of laws. And they are always at the mercy of the governors. An average governor can tell that he wants this and that for look at this particular chairman, that particular. They are always the ones that cherry pick them. That is why Wale's case right now, yes, he's gathering enough emotions, he's scoring much favor from the listening world. The typical David versus Goliath issue. David will always have people sympathizing because ordinarily Goliath will trample on David. But this time around, even the David who has gone to equity has not gone there with clean hands. That Kwabiodun from some grapevine was telling others, didn't you say, okay, a video even went viral immediately after the outburst of Wale Adedayo. How that some local government chairmen, which as in even old in age, they went to the governor's office to prostrate. What does that tell you? They pay obeisance to these governors because they knew how they got there. So when they now call for the electorate, what I did start, I can't conclude. Did I vote for you in the first place? Were you not just a railroad? I mean, you found yourself there by fiat of one governor. So at the end of the day, while they try to curry favor, sympathies now from the public, they don't really get it. For me, as I've said, I think Wale has just shot himself in the leg, and almost fatally, politically.
Now, what does this say to the legislative, the autonomy of the local government councils? They've been talking about local government autonomy. Now, the fact that they are now the fact that he came out, he's one person has come out to complain of funds not getting to them, which of course is preventing them from doing what they should do. What does that speak to the autonomy of local government and the clamor for an autonomy for local government?
You remind me of one time, was it the 23rd or 24th American president, now Woodrow Wilson? He was an idealist. He believed that the world can be this way. He wanted an El Dorado among mankind, but unfortunately, it's one thing to dream that way, reality stay in the face. The autonomy you've harped on, really, in an ideal world, if we follow the constitution, yes, local government chairmen or offices should be autonomous. They should not by any means have anything to do with the state government in terms of what do you call now, organogram. They are not subservient to the group. They are not, since they are not his appointees. But in reality, in stark reality, if I emphasize that, he is not autonomous at all. Neither is any local government chairman of the 774 we have in Nigeria. They get their success. It's always a flawed process that gets them there.
How does this now address, how does this now empower democracy, which is the system that we are practicing?
Well, truth is this. Now let me go back a bit to during Buhari's time. At the point, his body language was that he wanted to really help liberate the government chairman. That's why he even signed some executive bills. How that, when we have this monthly resource allocation, local government should get theirs direct. But you know what the governors did? They hijacked along the way. They went to court. And sometimes, even public opinion has a way of shaping some eventualities. There were some grumblings then when Buhari was trying to, in his good mind, trying to maybe ensure that local government chairmen are detached from the spring that tied them to local state governors. But even within the public, he was seen to be doing something aberrating. What's the president? What's his own? And when eventually when some rulings came, they say, oh, let us maintain status quo. That is, let local government chairmen or officers still get their embossment from their state governors. And that's why we're still in this mess. If we follow the constitution very well, if we go through the dictates and obey them, then we can truly say that, oh, Wale has not done anything wrong. It's not a place for you to make the world know what is going on. His outburst is not unusual. Only that he has done it against someone who possibly was his godfather, who possibly brought him up politically, and he will fight back. That's exactly what's going on now. I've been telling that you are just too small for this. You know how you got there.
So you think it's the governor that is fighting him now?
Obviously.
Because the information we have, which I would want to go by, is that his legislative council suspended him for maladministration, financial maladministration. And then he was subsequently arrested and is being taken to court.
Wale, according to the letter, which I read carefully, one of the punchlines there was that this particular letter I'm writing, telling the world of the shenanigans of the governor, I should have written it 2 years ago. Now, if it has gone wrong now, was it ever right? Why didn't he write this letter to the world in 2019? Why? So he coming out now to tell the world that what this has been happening since 2019. You wonder, were you not enjoying the proceeds? Were you not enjoying the filth? Now that it has gone against you, you now want to curry the favor of the public? That is why really he has not enjoyed much sympathy, even from his local government residents. They've not. Because 1, 2, 3 people we've asked, when they were eating this together, let me sound Koluka now, who was there with them? So why is he not coming out to say anything? So Wale's case is like he's going to bear the can by himself. It's the case of the witch cried last night, the child died the following morning. The fact that all local government chairmen or the council members of his local, they impeached him, tells you that somebody is pulling the string too. It's like, as we normally say in our parlance, Baba Sokwe, And once Baba speaks, it is done. We appear to be democratic, but we actually feudal. Somebody controls virtually everything. That's why it will not be out of place to even refer to some of these governors as emperor. Take Obaseki, for example. For 3 good years, he failed to swear in assembly members in Edo State. Just arbitrarily. He had that almighty power. He did what was totally unconstitutional. And that's why you press men, you are culpable. Of course, the press is always the whipping boy. Because don't play a role sometimes. You should be society watchdogs. You should set agenda. A man is doing what is wrong, flag him out. But sometimes we become too partisan. We just look away.
That's a swipe at the press, because the press, we do our jobs. We keep them on their toes, and then we inform the public as well.
Nigerian media is possibly, at least the democracy we enjoy today, some of them are traceable to the effort of the press. You can't take that from them. But when the press that should now still remain objective suddenly become partisan, subjective, when they now take side.
Well, that's not VOP TV.
Well,
that could be another.
Oh, fine. But here, what I'm saying is that the fact that eventually he's been impeached, which is novel to me. Have I ever heard of a local government chairman being impeached? I know of Balarabe in 1983, governor in Kaduna State, he was impeached. So Wale there is also going down in history as possibly one of it. It's ever happened before. Maybe one of the few things that ever happened. He has to go. That's just Dakwa Abiodun's. How dare you tell the world about me?
Now, but being taken to court now, bail has been placed for 2 million naira, and do you think this is taking it a little too far?
If you dine with the devil, then you must have a very long spoon. Some of these governors or these power brokers, they are ready to fight dirty. They will spare nothing to ensure that whoever wants to stand in their way, they crush. So that he's going to pay fine, it's not anything that worries the governor. He will not lose his sleep by virtue of that. And those that are on his side will just say a case of, it serves him right. So even if they slam a fine of 1 billion naira on him, it's because the governor who felt, this young man, you want to bite the fingers that fed you? Who are you? This is exactly what's playing out. Exactly what's playing out. Because he has again and again, look, we've mouthed it again over time. Let us reform our constitution, let us amend them. We keep amending them, but we leave out very salient angles. We leave them out. There should be strong legislation to the point that truly it will become almost impossible for a governor to put under his feet a local government chairman forever. But our constitution permits all this. The fact that they are still tied to them. Anything the federal government is doing, with respect to local government, they still have to pass through the middlemen. And once they get through the middlemen, hoarding, as we were taught in accounts, middlemen will hoard. Something goes missing. But while they try to tell the world what went wrong, only that he's doing it with someone stronger than he is.
Now, he's doing it with someone stronger than he is, but we also know that the governor enjoys immunity, doesn't he?
I said that earlier.
Okay.
Even right now,
now, considering the fact that the governor, could it be that what Wale Adedayo has done was just to, let the public know for when the governor leaves office, and then he will be probably prosecuted?
Well, he's giving a very big revelation, no doubt. So
at the risk of
his own political career.
Yes.
What I just know is that as much as he's not going to win this battle, he's already a lost battle. The governor too, and those involved with whatever he has said, as he alleged in the letter, will now take time to look at their shoulders. He will be more careful now, more circumspect, because he has blown open. He has opened the Pandora box. Even if you do not consume the governor now, you can be rest assured that he will tread softly, and everyone around him, they will tread softly. So that is one good side to this letter. Only that it is at the expense of Wale Adedayo's political career. It may never be relevant again. All
right. Thank you very much. Now let's go to our second topic very, very quickly. We'll just spend a little time on it. Now, in our second topic for this morning, suspected gunmen on Monday, September 26th, reportedly shot 3 students of the Isa Mustafa Agwai Polytechnic in Lafia, Nasarawa State. Sources say the assailants also abducted 1 female student, simply identified as Ajoke, and an ND2 student of Science Laboratory Technology. The students who sustained gunshot injuries were said to be receiving treatment at the Dalhatu Araf Specialist Hospital, Lafia. The students who were shot identified as Freedom Luka and Janet Oguche. Now, both students pursuing HND1 in public administration and HND2 in business administration and management, respectively. Additionally, Danladi Nicholas, who is seeking admission, was also affected. Now, the attack was confirmed at a press briefing on Tuesday, September 26, by the institution's rector, Justice Justina Angiode Kotso. He said that security operatives were on the trail of the abductors to ensure that the victims were rescued unhurt. Now, as it is now, this is another case of kidnapping.
Maybe
One too many.
One too many?
One too many.
One too many should have was about 3, 4, 5 years ago. This one is 10 too many. The optics on the federal government, especially because they control much of our security, defense, and what have you, is always so blurred that you imagine if they are this brazen, whether they are kidnappers, or terrorists, or bandits, if they just will have their way readily, you ask yourself, is it that we don't have anything that has to secure lives here? You are inaugurated into office, the first thing you say is your major concern is to provide security for your residents, state residents, or even the nation as a whole. So you look at what actually is going on. I read the story and I was, of course, now it's unfortunate that something really terrible has always become a part of our lives. It's that we're always expecting that, who is next? Who is next? But when they go to the level of abducting innocent, unsuspecting students, then you tell yourself, is this not enough to just get someone so mad, irritated that this must stop? But how many? We've lost count. They don't even go, they don't care. They don't care. Oh, from Chibok to Kankara to everywhere. As in,
to Zamfara.
And a case of what's going on.
Is this an issue of kidnapping being perceived as a lucrative means of getting money?
And you have even said it not too strongly. It has become an industry. It has been clearly, it's a case of people are making enough. Every sound like my son of my students, they are cashing out. Otherwise, it should have been stemmed. If we claim we've bought all the Tucanos of this world, we've employed the best of machineries, and they still have it so easy, then what's going on? Governors will collect every the unconstitutional security vote. What they use this security vote, not massaging vote, not traveling vote, security vote. Yet the lives of those they should protect are unprotected. So it's so as in they don't match up in Congress. So what are the governors? What do they really do? Because look, a governor like Governor Zulum in Borno State, has forever given he has so raised the bar that no governor has any excuse. He is even dealing with full-blown terrorism. Yet he has done so many things to stem them. But some of these governors, the immediate past governor of Benue State, before long is always ranting, always like a crybaby. I hope the Nasarawa state government, in conjunction with the federal government, will get these kids rescued unhurt. I was just some episodes ago, we said to tackle this there must be collaboration, there must be cooperation, but there is a missing link. Someone does not get the message of the other person. That's a lacuna. These evil men, that they exploit, and they have their way. And even if something wonder if these kids are rescued, what about the trauma they face their entire lives? So why can't we prevent this again and again by beefing up all that should be beefed up? These people are not state actors. They are non-state actors. How come they overpower our security again and again? They beat us to it. We are always reacting. We're never proactive. We should envisage what they can do. I know it's a guerrilla warfare, so it's unconventional. You can't really trace who is what. But you can, in military strategy, you can as well devise way. Over time they have a trend. When a kidnapper operates, you can tell it's different from how a terrorist operates, how a bandit operates. So it's just natural that by now, since 2009, when Mohammed Yusuf, the then leader of Boko Haram, was killed, that was what started all this. It has snowballed from terrorism down to banditry, kidnapping, And they've made a whole industry out of it. Otherwise, we won't have it this incessant. We won't have it this rampant.
All right. So now the president has authorized the acquisition of 12 fighter helicopters, combat helicopters, to curb insurgency. Do you see this as a means of will it curb insurgency, kidnappings, banditry, herdsmen attacks, and every other security issue that we have in the country at the moment?
Well, talk is cheap, but do we act? We have Buhari then, the President Buhari then bought about 6 or 12 Super Tucanos. And when I read through about what those firing, what they can really do, they can as well get any job done because they have the power to zoom into any location and get whoever they want neutralized. But we've not deployed not one.
Now, in that regard, we know that the US that sold the Super Tucano jet to Nigeria insisted that they would have to supervise the usage of it. I recall that they insisted on supervising the usage of it because they said it must be used to fight Boko Haram and insurgents in the northeast, in that area, northeast and the northwest, in that area.
You know what, Moses?
And not used for other,
For me, we sometimes act as though we're not a sovereign nation. When we paid them, when we bought from them, didn't we pay them correctly? So it is not in their place to tell us when and how to use it. It's like I come to you, I buy something from you.
Yeah, don't you think that was in a way to curb misuse of it? Yes, misuse of it.
You will not have
enemies.
Desperate times call for desperate action. This has gone overboard. This has gone overboard. So if you still have to go through the textbook of when to use and not to use, then I've always said, a father sees the scorpion and the mother kills it. Is it out of place? No. If we use this Super Tucano to dislodge, to neutralize all these evil activities in whichever shade, whether it is banditry or kidnapping or the ground on terrorism, it's out of place. So it's not for up to the Nigerian government. We bought it you didn't give us for free. We paid you. So how we deploy them is entirely our business. So when look, sometimes you feel is government even complicit? Is it that they are comfortable with what goes on? I found that excuse, that caveat so ludicrous. I don't appreciate for once. Oh, as the kids will say, last, they will not say when next we go, they won't sell to us. But will they come and arrest us for using what we bought? No, they don't have that power. So government is only being lazy, hiding behind the finger. It's becoming too. When you say one too many, it's like 20 too many. So if we don't really apply this, he wants to go and the current president Tinubu wants to go and buy another 12, and they should be giving the guy, you can't use this way, you can't use that. Who does that? A sovereign nation? Then we have ceded our sovereignty. It's not an international organization whereby, once you join them, part time you cede a bit of your sovereignty because you are part of the whole. Here, we have not signed any bilateral relation with America. We only bought from them. How we deploy them, how we use them, is entirely our business. So they should not tell us that. And the government is using that as an excuse not to fight. And it's unfortunate. And let me say this before, I think it's about time government properly name these evildoers, because I can't even give them any other. And it matters. If you label some terrorists, and I think they should all be called terrorists. Terrorism above all things to create fear and traumatize. And this is the aim of banditry, of full-blown terrorism, and even kidnapping. So government should know that they are not giving any, no excuse they are giving is good enough. We didn't buy them to put them in a museum for kids to come and say, we had this. We want them to get some things done. And we are not using them for the thing we bought them for. So it's unfortunate.
All right then. Well, thank you very much, Moses Adebayo, for coming on the program. We do appreciate you for your time.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
All right, that's how far we can go today on Political Voice. This is where we drop anchor. On behalf of the team, I am Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day. Bye for now.